Very good morning to all of you. So last time we have defined subordinate matrix norm for on a matrix, okay, which is given by this following definition, and we have left an exercise to show that these two things are same. This equal sign is correct. Okay, they both are equal. Okay, so that we have left as an exercise, whether you are talking about this set, this supremum, or the right left hand side or right hand side, both will be the same. Okay, so that you please complete it. Okay, and other thing is, we have also seen some of the properties of subordinate matrix norm. The very first property what we have seen is norm of AXV is less than equals to norm A into norm XV for every x in Rn. Okay, because this is true for every zero vector or non-zero vector, both, that we have shown in the last lecture. Moreover, spectral radius of the matrix A is also less than equals to norm of the matrix. Okay, what other thing we have also seen is this induced matrix norm is actually a submultiplicative norm. Okay, just carefully look the definition of this norm of I. Subordinate matrix norm is supremum over, okay, U belongs to Rn such that norm of U is equals to 1 with respect to any norm is norm of IU V. And note that norm of IU, so note that IU is equals to U, because you are multiplying by an identity matrix to a vector U, you will get the same output. So this implies norm of IU V is same as norm of UV, but norm of UV is 1. Okay, so we are through with this. Okay, so this is equal to supremum of U belongs to Rn such that norm of UV is equals to 1. Norm of IUV is norm of U, but this remains 1 for every U in Rn, right? Because norm of U is 1. So supremum over the set of 1 1 1 1 is 1 only, right? So hence this exercise is done. So for a subordinate matrix norm, norm of I is 1. So here you can put a check that, okay, so what it gives you, why it is so important. So if you want to show, okay, remark, you can say remark, if you want to okay, if, okay, this norm, this function is a subordinate, okay, subordinate norm on A, on matrix A, then subordinate norm, okay, now subordinate norm, then norm of identity matrix is 1. So you can say this will be a necessary condition. Okay, so norm of I is 1. If this is not 1, you can't say this is a, okay, if norm of I is 1, okay, if it is subordinate norm, then norm of I must be 1. Okay, so this remarks tells you that if this is a, this given norm is a subordinate norm, then norm of an identity matrix must equals to 1. Okay, so if for certain norm of identity matrix is not equals to 1, that you are going to see soon. Okay, if it is not equals to 1, then you can say this is not a subordinate norm, or this is not induced by any norm on Rn. Okay, so we have two names for this, subordinate or induced norm. Okay, induced because you are associating one of the norm of on the Euclidean space Rn. It may be P norm, it may be 2 norm, it may be 1 norm, or it may be L infinity norm, maximum norm. Okay, right. So keep this remark in the mind. Okay, right. So now let's first matrix norm is one norm. Okay, and that we have to show. This is our claim that matrix norm one norm will be nothing but the maximum over column sum. Okay, and column sum is performed in magnitude sense. You take the absolute value in each column. So if this is true, okay, if this is true, okay, then let's say A is equals to 1 2 3 4. So if this is true, what will be the norm 1 of this matrix? Okay, you take the sum of, so you take the maximum of, okay, sum of the magnitude of each column. Okay, sum of the magnitude of entries in sum of the magnitude of the column vectors. Okay, so you have magnitude of 1 plus magnitude of 2 in the first column, magnitude of 3 plus magnitude of 4 in the second column. That is equals to maximum of the set, that is 1 plus 2, that is 3, 3 plus 4 is 7. So the norm is 7. Okay, it's one example. Let's say another example is A is equals to, let's say 1 minus 1, 2 minus 2, or minus 3, let's say. Okay, so the one norm, if we are going with this definition, that's equal to maximum of the column with the coordinates. You have to make magnitude and then take this 1, magnitude of 1 plus magnitude of minus 1, magnitude of 2 plus magnitude of minus 3, that is equals to maximum of 2 comma 5. So that is equals to 5. Okay, so if this above definition is true, so we have to prove it, okay, that this is actually true. Okay, so let's go to the new page. So we want to claim that norm of A1 is equals to maximum over, okay, maximum of 1 less than equals to j less than equals to n summation I equals to 1 to n mod of aij. Okay, so let's say the right side is some alpha. Okay, now definition. Okay, now look at the definition of norm A1. So one norm, if you recall, that is equals to, okay, so that is equals to supremum of, right, supremum of norm of AX1, right, with norm of X is, norm of X1 is 1. Okay, right? Okay, so now norm of AX1 is equals to summation I is equals to 1 to n mod of AX of I, that is equals to summation I is equals to 1 to n summation j is equals to 1 to n mod of this mod of aijxj. Now by using triangle inequality, this is less than equals to summation I is equals to 1 to n times summation j is equals to 1 to n mod of aij times mod xj. Now you take the maximum over j and the maximum of over the mod, then the set of elements mod aij. Okay, so this is further less than equals to, if I use that, summation I is equals to 1 to n maximum of 1 less than equals to j less than equals to n mod of aij. That is a known thing, right, that you can work with. Okay, that time summation j is equals to 1 to n mod xj. Now Note that this is nothing but norm x1. Okay, it's a fixed number, so that is done, that is come out, so that is equals to maximum of 1 less than equals to j less than equals to n, summation I is equals to 1 to n mod aij. So this is a finite sum, whether you first take the maximum and then perform the sum, okay, or you first perform the sum and then you take the maximum. Both are the same thing. Okay, time norm x1. So what this, so let x belongs to Rn is such that, okay, or x is a non-zero vector, okay, then what we will have is, so the above thing, what it will imply is norm of ax1 divided by norm x1 is less than equals to alpha. That is true for every x belongs to Rn and x non-zero. So this certainly implies norm of a1 is less than equals to alpha. Okay, right. Now for the, so now we need to show that this is greater than equals to alpha or it is equals to alpha for some x. Okay, so for the reverse thing, what we will show now. Okay, now let maximum of 1 less than equals to j less than equals to n, summation I is equals to 1 to n mod of aij, okay, equals to summation I equals to 1 to n mod of aij naught. So for some j it does exist, right? So let's say for j naught, okay. So now, so you can see this is a1 j naught plus a mod of a1 j naught plus a2 j naught plus and so on. Okay, let this is equals to, for some j naught, so let's say this is equals to summation, so that is equals to alpha. Now can I find an x, okay, or can I create an artificial x such that norm of ax1 is this summation I equals to 1 to n mod of aij naught? Yes. So if I consider, let x is equals to, okay, x is a vector 0 0 and so on, that is 1 0 0 0. Okay, what is here is, this is j naught entry. Okay, if this I choose, if I choose this, okay, if I choose this value, then certainly norm of x1 is 1. Okay, what will be ax? What will be, you can say, ax of I, or ax of I is, if I look it carefully, that is, what is ax is, what is ax is, this is equals to, this is here is a transpose, you can see column vector, okay, this is equals to a1 j naught comma a2 j naught right, comma a3 j naught ends on A and J naught. Can I say this? So if you create this artificial vector x, so what we are for that corresponding x, Ax is this, and for which you can say this is the transpose of this. Okay, so for this norm of Ax1 is equals to summation I equals to 1 to n mod of Aij naught, that is equals to alpha. So you are true, right? So that shows that there exists an x such that norm of Ax1 is alpha, and you already shown, and this norm Ax is among that supremum set. Okay, so this tells you this, and you can say this is 2 and this is 1. So from 1 and 2 you can say that norm of A1 is equals to alpha only. Right? So we have created an artificial x here. Okay, by taking an unit vector, you can say unit length vector. Okay, right. Okay, so what we have done is, what we have shown the following matrix norm is equals to norm A1 is equals to maximum column sum. Now next, similarly you can show that norm A infinity is given by this. Okay, so for this, if you look at, so norm of Ax infinity, if I try to look at, that is equals to maximum of 1 less than equals to I less than equals to n mod of Ax of I, right? So that is equals to maximum of, again, 1 less than equals to I less than equals to n summation j is equals to 1 to n mod of Aij xj, that's outside. Now I use that triangle inequality. So this implies less than equals to maximum of 1 less than equals to I less than equals to n summation j is equals to 1 to n mod of Aij time mod xj. Now note that mod of xj certainly will be less than equals to norm x infinity norm, right? Infinity norm. Okay, certainly will be less than equals to norm x infinity. So this certainly less than equals to, if I say right side is here, let's say this is beta. Okay, so that is beta time norm x infinity. So this will again by similar argument tells you norm A infinity is less than equals to beta. Now you need to show that, again you have to create an artificial vector x, okay, such that such that norm Ax infinity is beta. Okay, so for that, okay, so what is beta is? Beta is equals to maximum of 1 less than equals to I less than equals to n summation j is equals to 1 to n mod of Aij. So this is equals to for some I naught, so that is equals to summation j is equals to 1 to n mod of Ai naught j. Norm of y, that is 1. Okay, and moreover if you look at Ay at I naught, okay, at I is equals to I naught, okay, that is equals to summation j is equals to 1 to n, okay, that is equals to mod of Ai naught j, right, that is equals to mod of Ai naught j. Or you can say, if you wish to write more steps here, okay, if you wish to write more steps here, So that is equals to summation j is equals to 1 to n a I naught j yj. But if you look out for the definition of yj, so yj is a I naught j mod of n I naught j divided by a I naught j. So a I naught j, whenever a I naught j is non-zero, okay, and yj is 0 whenever a I naught j is 0. So this is equals to summation j is equals to 1 to n mod of a I naught j, okay, that is equals to your beta, right? So now this implies, okay, what does this implies? Okay, what does this implies is this is beta equals to, so this is beta equals to a y I naught, okay. This implies this is equals to a y of I naught, where yj is equals to this, okay, right. So how do you show that this is equals to, so for some y, so can I say norm of a y infinity is actually equals to beta? Yeah. So see, what is norm of a y infinity? If I wish to look at clearly here, what it will be, that is equals to maximum of 1 less than equals to I less than equals to n mod of a y I, right? So this is certainly greater than or equals to, maximum greater than or equals to mod of a y I naught, and that is equals to beta, right? So beta is less than equal to sum of the member. So you have shown that, okay, just now, if so, this will tells you that this implies this, and you can say this is 2, and if you look at previously, and you can say this is 1, okay. So this implies norm a infinity is equals to beta. Look at carefully, okay, and come back if you have still have doubts with this, okay. So norm infinity is maximum over row sum, okay. So you can work with an example for finding the norm infinity infinity norm for the given matrix A. Work with the same example, okay. So one example was 1 2 3 4, okay. So I have this A matrix, and so what is the infinity norm of this? Maximum of row sum in magnitude. So row sum is 1 plus 2 in magnitude. 1 plus 2 is 3, 3 plus 4 is 7. So norm A infinity is 7 for this matrix. For another matrix, this is A1, let's say. For another matrix A2, let's have this 1 minus 1, 2 minus 3, same matrix. Let's say norm A2 infinity is equals to maximum of row sum. So 1 plus 2 is 3, right? Row sum in magnitude is 1 plus 2 is 3. First row sum is in magnitude is 3, and second row sum in magnitude is 4. So maximum is 4, and so on. Okay, right. Now third defined norm is 2 norm, okay, which is norm A2. And if you look at the definition, that is supremum of norm of AX2 with norm X2 is equals to 1. And if you recall, what is norm AX2 is equals to summation I is equals to 1 to n mod of AX of I square to the power 1 by 2. If you recall the 2 norm on n on Rn. Okay, this is the definition. Now if you refer the page number 190 in Kincaid, okay, there is the result or there is the theory has been given that, okay, that actually it also can be equals to square root of spectral radius of A transpose A. So that also one more way of defining the two norm of the matrix A. Okay, so in order to find out the two norm of the matrix, we are going to look for the spectral radius of A transpose A, okay, and then take the square root. That will give you the two norm of the matrix. For detail, you can refer page number 119 in Kincaid, okay. And because it requires some more theory like singular decomposition and so on. So we don't want to go into detail. So two norm is by definition is fixed, that this is equals to the square root of spectral radius of A transpose A. Okay, so this also we can use as a definition for the finding the two norm. Okay, and then it will be very easy for finding the two norm for a given matrix. Okay, right. Another norm is Frobenius norm. Okay, so Frobenius norm is something different than previous. Okay, so this is defined by you take the square of each entry and then sum up. You take the square of each entry in the matrix and then sum up and then take the square root. Okay, so if I have the matrix A, let's say again 1 2 3 4. So for this, the Frobenius norm, of course you need to prove, okay, that this is a norm. Verify that it is a norm. Okay, it is a norm. Okay, it is a norm. That is, you can make sure. Okay, so Frobenius norm is 1 square plus 2 square plus 3 square plus 4 square. Okay, right. So that is equals to 1 plus 4 plus 9 plus 16, that is 30. Right? So Frobenius norm for the given matrix is 30. Okay. Now what we wish to know about this more is whether this is a subordinate norm. Can you relate with subordinate norm or not? The answer is no. Why? Because if you take for the subordinate matrix norm, what is requirement is norm of the identity matrix. Okay, subordinate norm of the identity matrix is 1. But if you, in this case, if you look at an identity matrix of order 2, let's say identity matrix of order 2, 1 0 0 1. So what is the Frobenius norm for this matrix? Is 1 square plus 0 square plus 0 square is 0. So 1 square plus 1 square and then take the square root. Yes, of course here is the square root of 30. Square root is there. Okay, square root is there. Okay, so that is equals to square root of 2, which is not equals to 1. Okay, so this is an example, okay, that you have a norm but it is not a subordinate or induced matrix norm because its identity matrix norm is not 1. Okay, so you can take, so for, you can see it's for 2 cross 2 matrix you have square root of 2, for 3 cross 3 matrix you have square root of 3, for n cross n matrix you have the Frobenius norm of an identity matrix is square root of n, that we can verify. Okay, right. Now you the next exercise is spectral, not spectral, this 2 norm is always lies below the Frobenius norm. Okay, that you can show by using, so I can give you a here hint that you have to use Cauchy-Seurat inequality. If you recall from your linear algebra or inner product, okay, use Cauchy-Seurat inequality to show that. Okay, so if you have any doubt here, or if you are not able to apply the Cauchy-Seurat inequality, you can ask in doubt session for the same. Okay, right. Let's have one more example where we will calculate each norm, one norm, two norm, infinity norm, and Frobenius norm. So if you calculate, so if I wish to calculate norm 1, one norm is maximum of, okay, column sum, okay, in magnitude. So here 1 plus 4 is 5 in magnitude, so minus 2 magnitude is 2, minus 3 magnitude is 3, so minus 2 plus 3 is 5, so maximum is 5. Norm of A infinity is maximum over column sum, maximum over row sum, right? So row sum, so first row is in magnitude is 3 sum, and for the second row the sum is 4 plus magnitude of minus 3 is 3, 4 plus 3 is 7, so that is 7. Now what is the Frobenius norm? That also very straightforward. The square of each entry, so 1 square plus minus 2 whole square is 4, plus 4 square is 16, plus 3 minus 3 square is 9, and you take the square root. Don't forget to take the square root here. So that is equals to square root of 30. Right? That's the Frobenius norm. Now for the for the 2 norm, what you will do? You are going to find A transpose A matrix. So what it is equals to? 1 minus 2, 4 minus 3, okay, 1 minus 2, 4 minus 3, so that is equals to, right, okay, 16 plus 1 is 17, then this is minus 2 minus 12, that is minus 14, then you have minus 2 minus 12, that is minus 14, that is 4 plus 9 is 30. Okay, now you are supposed to find all the possible eigenvalues of this matrix. Okay, right, so you have A transpose A is equals to 17 minus 14 minus 14 and 13. Okay, so its determinant is what? 17 into 13 minus 14 square. Okay, so that is determinant. Okay, so that is equals to 2 to 1 minus 196, that is equals to 525, right? So corresponding characteristic polynomial is lambda square minus 30 lambda plus 25 is equals to 0. Okay, so now this is equals to lambda equals to 30 plus minus square root of 900 minus 100 divided by 2, that is equals to 30 plus minus square root of 800. 800 is 20 root 2 divided by 2, so that is equals to 15 plus minus 10 root 2. Okay, So spectral radius is 15 plus 10 root 2, right? Or yeah, this is 30 lambda, that's true. So determinant is okay, $25. Okay, so okay, so you just have to correct it. Spectral radius of A transpose A is nothing but is maximum of the eigenvalues. So maximum is 15 plus 10 root 2 here, if we calculate it correctly. Okay. Right. So we will see if you, yeah, we are fine with this. Okay. So that is what 2 norm, and that you can find out, and you can see the relation between 2 norm and Frobenius norm. Okay. Okay. So now next we are going to define the condition number for the given matrix A. So that will tell you if you perturb X or if you perturb, okay. So in the, when you solve the equation, so let me tell you, when you solve the equation Ax equals to B, okay, so you are not getting exact solution, right? You are getting an approximate solution X tilde, right? So you have, when you apply Ax tilde on X, you will not be obtaining same B, you are obtaining B tilde. So suppose that the vector B, so this relation is fine, right? When you X is perturbed with X tilde, B is perturbed with also B tilde. Okay, so suppose that the vector B is perturbed to obtain a vector B tilde. So B is perturbed and you have B tilde, and X and X tilde are satisfying these relations. Okay, then by how much do X and X tilde differ in relative terms? Means you need to find the bounds for norm of X minus X tilde divided by norm X in some sense. So this will be, so this is a n cross 1 vector. Okay, this vector is X in Rn. Okay, so this norm you are going to use only subordinate matrix norm. So for condition number is defined for subordinate matrices matrix norms. Okay, so keep in this mind that when you are solving a system of linear equations, okay, you are not getting the exact solution, you are getting an approximate solution, okay, which you can say is a perturbed solution. So then parallelly that B, the constant vector, also will be perturbed if you see the original system vector. Okay, so what will be the relation, okay, or how much differ you will get in relative term, that will explain you now. Okay, so what we are going to do now is, so let's have, this is, so the given system is X and X tilde satisfies this system, Ax equals to B and Ax tilde equals to B tilde. Now look at this. Okay, now so when you are talking about differ, okay, you are assuming that the system is having unique solution, means A is invertible. So this also tells you that X equals to A inverse of B and X tilde is A inverse of B tilde. That also you should keep in mind. So, okay, now norm of x minus x tilde, if you calculate, that is equals to norm of A inverse B minus A inverse B tilde. That is equals to norm of A inverse of B minus B tilde. Now, you know subordinate matrix, this is subordinate matrix now, is further less than equals to norm A inverse time norm of B minus B tilde. Okay, right. So this is further equals to, I just write or adjust, or you can say make some adjustment here. So I should go for relative in B, so norm B, multiply and divide by norm B. Now this is equals to further norm of A inverse. Now norm B is also equals to norm AX time norm of B minus B tilde by norm B. Now since this norm is induced norm, so this is further less than equals to norm A inverse time norm A time norm X time norm B minus B tilde by norm B. So if I define this as K of A, okay, so and see x is a non-zero vector, we are looking for x is non-zero. So for x non-zero, obviously, right, what we have is norm of x minus x tilde by norm x is less than equals to Ka time norm of B minus B tilde by norm B. So this is a one side, means you got the upper bound. Okay, what about the lower bound? Now also you can say also norm of B minus B tilde, that is equals to norm of Ax minus Ax tilde, that is equals to norm of A into x minus x tilde, that's less than equals to norm A time norm of x minus x tilde. Okay, right. So this implies norm of B minus B tilde by norm x time norm A, you can say, is less than equals to norm of x minus x tilde by norm x. Now I wish to get rid of this norm x here on the left side. Okay, not that norm of x is equals to norm of A inverse B, that's further less than equals to norm A inverse time norm of B, right. So this further implies 1 upon norm of A inverse time norm of B is less than equals to 1 by norm x. So this implies norm of B minus B tilde by norm A, I have multiplied by this, okay, time norm A inverse time norm of B is less than equals to norm of B minus B tilde divided by norm A time norm x, right, that is less than equals to norm of x minus x tilde by norm x from above. Now if you look at the denominator here, if you look at the denominator here, that is nothing but the condition number. So what you observe from this in this inequality is norm of B minus B tilde by norm of B time 1 upon K of A is less than equals to norm of x minus x tilde by norm x. If you combine it with the previous one, is this is less than equals to K of A time norm of B minus B tilde by norm B. So you have got the both lower bound as well as upper bound. Okay, right. So if condition number is very large, we will say the matrix is ill condition. Okay, right. So we say that matrix is ill condition when you have the condition number is too large. Okay, so condition number is defined by K of A is defined by norm A into norm A inverse. Now what I wish to first tell you that first property, condition number of identity matrix, what it will be? Norm of I inverse, that is both are 1, because for the subordinate matrix norm, identity matrix norm is 1. Right. Second property, K of some lambda time A. Okay, where lambda is, you can say, non-zero. That is equals to norm of lambda A time norm of lambda A inverse. Okay, so that is equals to mod lambda norm A time norm of lambda A whole inverse is lambda inverse time A inverse. Now apply the norm property, homogeneity property, that is mod lambda time mod lambda inverse time K of A. So mod lambda time mod lambda inverse is 1. So that is equals to K of A. So nothing changes. Scalar multiple of a matrix will not change the condition number. Okay. What moreover, what you can also observe is condition number for any matrix is always greater than equals to 1, at least 1. How do you show this? Now 1 is equals to identity matrix now, right? So that is equals to norm of A into A inverse. Since A is invertible, so that satisfies this. Now use the property of sum multiplicative. So this sum multiplicative property of the induced matrix now. So that's less than equals to norm A into norm A inverse. That's equals to K of A. Right? Okay. What about, let G be an orthogonal matrix. Orthogonal matrix. Then norm G2, 2 norm of G is 1, I see. Because you know G transpose G is identity matrix, and you know that subordinate matrix norm of I matrix is 1, and you know spectral radius of identity matrix is also 1. Square root of 1 is also 1. So if G is an orthogonal matrix, its inverse also is an orthogonal matrix. Okay, and K2 of G is also can be shown as 1. Okay, that also can be shown as 1. So it's always good to work with an orthogonal matrix many times. Right. So we have got this bound. Okay, right.